Hi, welcome to the Commission on Human Trafficking Board meeting, which is today, July the 24th, 2025. So the Commission on Human Trafficking has established a period at each of its meetings to allow citizens to speak. Anyone who wishes to speak virtually or in person during the meeting may do so by contacting the Commission's administrator, whose contact information is on the Commission's webpage, on the county's website at hillsboroughcounty.org. All speakers who wish to speak virtually will be required to provide their name, email address, and telephone number. This information is being requested to facilitate the public comments process. The chair will call on speakers by name in the order in which the requests to speak have been received. Priority is on first come, first served basis. All virtual speakers will be muted upon joining the meeting and will be unmuted after being recognized by the chair by name. The Commission respects the rights of citizens to express their opinions and concerns. However, the Commission requests that citizens present their concerns in a respectful manner to maintain a polite atmosphere where all individuals are respected. Up to 3 minutes are allowed for each speaker. And I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Chair Rose. My computer still isn't up, so let me start with announcing that the following members have conflicts and will not be attending today. That is the 13th Judicial Circuit, so Chief Judge Sabella and Gina Justice, the Crisis Center, the Hillsborough County Aviation Authority. The Sail of Freedom will be here virtually, I'm hoping, and I'll call her during the roll. And Visit Tampa Bay had their annual meeting this morning, their board meeting, so they have a conflict. They will try to attend either virtually or in person when that meeting concludes. So moving on to the members who are here. Now I will call the roll. So Commissioner Cepeda.
Present.
Chair Rose.
Present.
School Board Member Gray.
Present.
Major Rodriguez.
Present.
Captain Carlisle.
Present.
Detective English.
Present.
Bureau Chief Mobley.
Present.
We have with us today from TPD Sergeant Shriver, who we'll get to in a minute,
Present.
and Detective Aguiar, also from Tampa Police Department.
Present.
One of you will vote, one of you will not. Just indicate who is voting at the time, so I have the record clear. From the Port Tampa, we have Ryan Fierst.
Present.
And did I call Ms. Bureau Chief Mobley? I did, okay. And Celeste Williams from Redefining Refuge.
Present.
Our religious institution member, Mr. Petrolak.
Present.
Okay, Chair, you have a quorum.
Wonderful. I do want to just take one moment and just let everyone know that we do have 2 county interns that are with us. The first is Thomas Suggs. He's a recent graduate of Sickles High School and is headed to UCF in Orlando this fall. And Michael Evans, the second, is a junior at Sickles High School. Welcome.
Chair, Felicia Crosby-Rucker, Hillsborough County Homeless and Community Services Director. They're running late from another meeting, so hopefully they'll be able to get here before the end of the meeting.
All right.
I apologize.
That's all right. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for acknowledging them.
May I also add that we have another director here. We have Director Patrick Mincy from staff, Director Rucker. We also have Director Kevin Wagner from Healthcare Services. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you and welcome, everyone. Welcome. Are we at this time, Commissioner Cepeda, would you like to go ahead and present the service certificate presentation?
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. And
Before we present this certificate of appreciation, I would like to take a moment to personally recognize and thank someone who has been meaningful and lasting impact on Human Trafficking Commission. Sergeant Crystal Shiver has served on this board since November 2023, and during that time, she has brought not only professionalism and experience, but also deep compassion and strength to every discussion, decision, and effort we've undertaken. Her voice has been steady presence, her insight has shaped our direction, and her commitment to protecting the vulnerable has truly embodied the purpose of this commission. I want to say thank you, Sergeant Shiver. Your service has made a difference, and it has been a privilege to serve alongside you. And also, I have a letter from Chair Hagan from the Commission, Hillsborough County Commission. Dear Sergeant Shiver, I'll just read this for you. And for everyone to hear, one of the greatest gifts a person can give is of his or her time. You have demonstrated your concern for our community by having faithfully served on the Commission on Human Trafficking. The experience and wisdom you brought to the Commission were invaluable to your fellow Commission members and improved the quality of their decision-making. Please accept my sincere thanks and appreciation for your many hours of service. Enclosed is a certificate expressing the Board of County Commissioners' appreciation for your unique contributions to our community. I've also have a letter for you as well, personally from myself, but also for everyone, please join me in honoring Sergeant Crystal Shiver for this certificate of appreciation for outstanding service. Thank you.
No, I'm going to get them right in front of the flag and the Hillsborough County seal. There we are. There we go. Perfect. One more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I have two letters for you right here. This one. This one. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Our interns are here.
So interns, welcome, welcome. So I welcomed you earlier, but you weren't here yet. So thank you so much. We're so excited to have you join us, and we look forward to working with you. Do we have anyone for public comment?
We do.
Hi, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Jaslyn Vasquez. I'm with One More Child. I am the anti-trafficking team coordinator for Circuit 13. I just wanted to introduce myself so you guys could put a name to face, as I've probably spoken with some of you over the phone, but have no idea who I am in person. So I just wanted to introduce myself. Thank you.
Would you like to just take one moment and tell us what One More Child is? Because you have 3 minutes.
Sure. So One More Child, we do a number of different things. We have a number of different programs within our organization. However, I can speak more specific to our anti-trafficking program. So our anti-trafficking program currently serves Circuit 13, Circuit 9, Circuit 18, Circuit 20, and we also have expansion or locations in North Carolina, Tennessee, and Ohio. Our team is composed of an advocate, clinician, and survivor mentor, where we all work together and basically help youth who have any indicators of HT or are verified HT. And we also serve adults as well. Our demographic ranges from ages 10 to 28.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, perhaps the interns would like to say a word?
Absolutely.
No pressure.
Hello, everybody. My name is Thomas Suggs. I'm an intern with the RISE program. It's an 8-week program during the summer for high school students. I just graduated, so I'm going to UCF in the fall to major in journalism. And yeah, we've been going around all the human services departments week by week, just trying to soak in as much information as we can. So really excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Michael. I am about to be a junior at Sickles High School, and I'm a RISE intern also. It is really fun to be here, and as he said, we are going around all the different departments, and it's been a lot to soak in, a lot of information. And when I go to college, I want to major in computer science.
Thank you. Lisa, we're at that wonderful moment again of election of secretary.
We are going to keep trying, Madam Chair. Once again, we are looking for nominations, whether by someone else for a member or self-nomination for secretary of this board. Again, we've gone over what the responsibilities are, attendance at the meetings, taking some notes, verifying when the draft recap is done, that it is accurate, and then subbing in if our chair, vice chair is not able to attend a meeting. So that's kind of the long and short of it. So would anybody like to nominate someone for secretary? I don't hear any voices. Do you, Madam Chair?
I don't either. At some point, though, someone is going to come forward and say, I'm going to be secretary. Because here's the thing about that. Lisa does an incredible job, and Lisa, thank you. Thank you so much. It's really not that time-consuming, right? Because of the fact we do record everything. There is all kinds of notes that go along with the recordings, et cetera. But as we are moving forward, we're having conversations also about committees, and that we want to have committees. And if we can't have an election of a secretary, how are we going to pull together committees to do some of the incredible work that we as a commission would like to do moving forward? So I'm just kind of putting that out there.
Still don't hear any voices. Okay. So I guess we can move on, and we will bring it up again at the next meeting.
So Lisa, can you go ahead and do a review, and so we can do a approval of our meeting recap, please? from
Well, the meeting
5/22?
recap was provided to everyone prior to the meeting. I do my best to get it accurate. So we have the May 22nd, 2025 board meeting recap that would need to be voted on. So if everyone's had an opportunity to read that, you can go ahead and ask for a vote.
Has everyone had an opportunity to review the 5/22 meeting recap?
Make a motion to approve?
All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve. We need a second. So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passed.
All right, thank you. So then the next item on the agenda, Madam Chair, is our agency partner guest.
Are you ready? All right. I didn't know if you got back upstairs quick enough or not.
I
So we
didn't.
have the honor today of having Dawn Sachs. She is the executive director of More to Life. I have known Dawn in so many different capacities throughout the years doing this work, and I'm very excited that you're with us today and to share about More to Life and the incredible work that you all are doing. So welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members, for having us. It is quite the honor to speak with you today about our services and, of course, the partnerships that we use to impact those who've been exploited. So as she mentioned, I'm the executive director with More to Life, and I also serve as the chair of the newly reformed Circuit 12 Human Trafficking Coalition. So I'm here today on behalf of More to Life, and we are a nationally recognized anti-human exploitation and service organization that provides wraparound services for primarily minors, but we are able to serve older adults as well who've been exploited. So we are currently in 6 different counties. So we're in 6 counties: Hillsborough, Sarasota, Manatee, Pasco, Pinellas, and Miami-Dade counties. At More to Life, we don't settle for temporary fixes. We focus on building identity and self-worth, providing care that heals and not just responds, and re-educating offenders instead of recycling harm. And then we equip survivors with tools for long-term independence. So how do we do this? Our goal is to meet people where they are at. Each person is unique in what they need, and we truly meet them, determine what their needs are, and create services around those needs. So our comprehensive programs include mentor case management, mental behavioral health coordination, life skills and positive identity building, housing support and transition assistance, substance abuse support and resource connection, prevention education and community awareness, restorative justice in demand education, and we have a new program that we're really excited about, and we're partnering with Tim Tebow Foundation, and it's on Kingdom Sons, Legacy of Fatherhood for Young Men and Boys. So we don't just intervene. As I mentioned, we walk alongside survivors on their journey to healing and independence, and to truly find their purpose. Our programs include mentorship and advocacy. We weren't only founded by a survivor of trafficking, but we also have many survivors that are on our team that guide our services, including Kim Figueroa, who is now our law enforcement advocacy specialist. She's here with me today. I know you all know who she is because she's doing phenomenal work in this county and Pasco, and as well as the state of Florida. They also are the survivor mentors that peer support. They also do a lot of crisis intervention and support. They walk alongside them in court with law enforcement and long-term mentorship and case management. We also do prevention and education, as many other service organizations do. One of the things that we recently implemented, which we're really excited about, is we recognized that youth were still getting triggered by service providers, even though they had been trauma-informed. So they received trauma-informed training, but we noticed that it really wasn't being implemented in service provision. And kids get triggered. And so we started developing curriculum. We were able to develop curriculum last year that really focuses on trauma-responsive care and training case managers and anyone else who wants it, law enforcement, on how to work with people who've been impacted by exploitation. And this curriculum was really developed by survivors. So our coordinator talked and spoke with many survivors across the state to develop this curriculum. So if anyone's interested in that, we would love to share that with you all. This is supported through our appropriations through the state of Florida, which was a huge gift. And so please let us know if you're interested. And then also our restorative justice in demand. This is a course that is for men, for perpetrators. And we believe that in order to end the demand of trafficking, you have to hit the people who are demanding that. Sorry. We couldn't do this without our partnerships. Real impact isn't achieved by ourselves. It takes everyone in this room. We have so many partners in here that help us achieve the work that we do, including law enforcement, child placing agencies, other service providers, mental health groups, nonprofits and faith-based groups, government funders in the Florida legislature, of course, the Attorney General's office, and all of these partnerships allow us to prevent exploitation, stand in the gap for survivors, and hold offenders accountable, and also create safer, more resilient communities. Together, we're building a future where healing is possible and where every survivor has the opportunity to just survive, but to thrive and become champions in their own lives. And I'm super excited. I didn't do PowerPoint, and we don't have handouts because we're actually going through a major rebranding, which has not been revealed yet. And so as soon as we have our new documentation to share with you, I will certainly make sure that you get those one-pagers to share that information with everyone. So thank you again. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'd love to connect with you.
Thank you, Dawn. Does anyone have any questions? You have 3 minutes left. Would you like Kim to
I
be
would
able-
love for Kim.
Yes, Kim, you have
come
3
up.
minutes. Come on up.
I tried to get her to come up earlier, and she was like, no.
Come on, Kim.
But yes, she's been doing such amazing work, and I would love for her to expand on the efforts with law enforcement that she's been doing, so.
Absolutely. Welcome, Kim.
Hi, thank you for having me. So yeah, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure to work alongside all of my law enforcement partners. As we know, early on, 10, 15 years ago, it just wasn't there, right? The partnership wasn't there, the trauma-informed care wasn't there, the understanding of human trafficking wasn't there. And so just really being able to come alongside them and partner with them and just give them the information from a victim's perspective as to how to handle these cases with better quality of care so that we can get prosecution and conviction rates up to the perpetrators that need to be held accountable. That was something that was on my heart, being a victim and a survivor myself. So that's really where, after my mentoring and my advocacy, I saw doors start to open up, and that's what I went for. And it's just been really amazing. So the work that I've been able to do with them is presentations and trauma-informed training to be able to bring, how to really work with victims in the field. Because victims are very difficult, right? It's complex, acute trauma. And so we're really trying to deal with them and build a case at the same time. Again, it is not an easy process, so having someone like myself there that can really bring that information to them, teach them, and show them how they should handle these cases and kind of support them along the way, because that's another aspect that I believe our community doesn't gather or give our law enforcement enough credit for, is they're like, well, they're not doing anything about it. Well, no, that's not necessarily the case, but they also have 100 other cases on their desk that they have to spread their attention to as well. And so really just kind of being that liaison between the community and law enforcement. So it's a two-pronged approach, and I'm seeing traction, I'm seeing movement, I'm seeing where it's actually been very beneficial to have me in this key role. And I'm really proud. I'm proud of not only our agency to be able to do that, but I'm proud of our law enforcement that has literally took me by the arm and just said, okay, come on, teach me and show me, and I want to do better. And so to me, that speaks volumes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so much, Dawn. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Figueroa and Ms. Sakes. Madam Chair, if you would like to take up the steering committee report and the strategic plan update and the budget request for a 2026 town hall style conference.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when Lisa sends out our agenda and sends out our packet, she sends out a very robust packet, right? So everything that we are, I will say, almost everything, because something always comes up, that we're going to have a conversation about in our commission meeting is included in that packet. So one of them happens to be the steering committee meeting recap, which went through a lot of the different conversations, of course, that happened at the steering committee. But some of the things that I want to point out at this moment in time, and again, I hope that you had some time to review all this before walking in to our meeting today. You know that we did an incredible strategic plan, right? We had collaborative labs come out. We had only a few hours in an afternoon together. But in that time, we did some really great work to really focus on what is our mission, what is our purpose, what is it going to look like for the Commission on Human Trafficking through 2027. So I'm just saying that as we really dive a little bit more into this. And I'm not going to go through the entire strategic plan because we don't really have time to do that today. So I'm just going to hyper-focus. And if you have any questions, please let me know. One of the things, and we're going to really dive into this a little bit later, but as you know, we've been having a conversation about having legal training, right? And we are having that training on August the 22nd. And like I said, in our next section, we'll really go through that and have a little bit more robust conversation regarding that. Moving along, though, from the steering committee, there was a motion, and there was a motion for us to be able to pay survivors when survivors come and speak for us. And when I say speak, whenever we do any kind of in-depth training or conference, right? And so during the steering committee, there was a motion, and it passed unanimously, and it was to allocate $5,000 for the fiscal year 2025 to be able to have funds budgeted to pay survivor speakers for our upcoming judicial training session. I want to let you know that the way the training session is rolling out, it doesn't look like we will be utilizing those funds, so we'll have to have a conversation of how do we maybe reallocate those funds, Lisa, or how do we move those funds over to 2026? But if nothing else, what we did is we have it here in writing that we, together as a commission, agree upon paying survivors for their lived experience, basically for their testimony and their professional experience.
So, Madam Chair, to answer your question.
Yes.
For the upcoming legal training that will take place with the Justice Partners, that money is available for payment to survivors who participate as presenters or trainers. We don't have that right now as locked into any one particular person. So that'll come with a discussion that will take place hopefully next week. The remaining funds cannot be moved to fiscal year 2026, but would have to be expended prior to September 30th of this year. Because we have an RFP in, I should say, development, we're still working on the language for procurement to put that RFP out. There is a possibility that $30,000 can be used for the housing, emergency housing with counseling services. The steering committee has discussed that before. I don't recall, I'd have to reread the recap, if there was a vote taken. But I don't know that a vote is necessary because you all discussed it so many times and have expressed support as a group, both here at the board meeting, the full board meetings, and at the steering committee, to use as much funding as possible for emergency housing, because it is such a very important and urgent need. So whatever is remaining, I believe it was Captain Carlisle who may have made this motion at a previous meeting, whatever is remaining after the payment, if there is one, to a survivor for a speaker trainer slot, then the remaining money would be used for the housing. There's also a possibility that some of the remaining money, and correct me if I'm wrong, could also be used, as was taken in a previous vote, for additional emergency communications devices. Should the crisis center use up the devices that they will be purchasing with the $2,000 in funding that was allocated. So if they go through those, in rapid succession and run out before September, well, actually it's mid-August, because mid-August is the cutoff for submitting invoices or requisitions for payment. If they run out by mid-August, then we can, by motion and vote, use some of that money for additional devices. So I just wanted to clarify that only $100,000 of your funding has been approved to be allocated to the 2026 Board of County Commissioners budget. And as everyone here knows, the budget is not finalized until the board votes on it. So we don't know what the total amount will be for your budget until the Board of County Commissioners takes that final vote. July 30th will be the, what's called the budget reconciliation meeting of the Board of County Commissioners. And at the reconciliation meeting, that's when commissioners present their flag lists. And then the final vote is taken in, I don't have the date in front of me, I should, that the Board of County Commissioners votes on the final budget. So that's, oh, I do have it with me. It's the final public hearing for budget adoption is September 18th. So July 30th is the flagging, the trim, and the budget reconciliation meeting. September 18th is the adoption of the final budget.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
And I just want to go back for a moment because this is recorded. We allocated $5,000 to pay lived experience, but that does not mean that that's what their fee is for a specific training. So I just want to make sure that I clarify that, okay? Within the steering committee meeting, one of the other conversations that I want to point out was about the Hotel and Motel Association, that Mr. Bob Morrison is part of the Hotel and Motel Association, came to the steering committee meeting to have a very robust conversation with the committee of what it would look like, what the model could possibly look like from a previous model that they did with the Spring, which we all know is our domestic violence shelter. It was a very successful program that they ran. We're not saying that the Spring in Tampa Bay would be who would be our emergency housing. What we're just saying is that the Hotel Motel Association already had a relationship. They already have a model that was very, very successful. So how could we take that model and utilize it for the Commission of Human Trafficking to be able to provide the emergency housing, their certificates, vouchers, whatever we're going to actually call them at the end of the day? You know, what would that look like for us? There is an RFP proposal that we will talk about a little bit later and what that looks like. Are there any questions about the hotels, about emergency housing, what that would look like? Again, we don't have the total framework built out, but if you have any questions at all at this point. More than likely, we will have a committee. So start thinking about that if you would like to be on the committee to really have a more robust conversation and how do we roll this out. Remember, our goal is to roll this out for fiscal year 2025, and then how much more robust can we be in 2026 and really expand on that particular program.
I would just like to share something. So like you were talking about emergency housing and the things that we really need. So I'll just briefly share this, like with this past year FY25 budget, we had here on the human trafficking $860,000 and says the remaining unspent balance of $432,000 plus. But of that amount, the remaining balance of $229,866 is currently encumbered for use but not yet spent. So that leaves, not including the monies that you were talking about putting back, but $202,727.96. But so we have so much that we could do here on this board, and we have the money here. We really need to put this to really good use. I mean, we hear so many people saying, you know, the things that we need, like this emergency housing, is very, very important to take care of the victims of human trafficking, and we really need to put this to very good use. We have it here, and we need to help the victims, and we need to use the funds wisely. So.
And thank you so much, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner, for that. I also wanted to just point out that Rob Parkinson has been a very integral part in having some of the follow-up conversations for us. Lisa happened to be out on a much warranted, needed, deserved vacation, and so Rob stepped in to follow up with the conversation with the Hotel and Motel Association, as well as our future training that we're going to be having on August the 22nd. So we're always very grateful for his assistance. One of the other things that I want to point out from the steering committee meeting is that there was a motion, and it was to utilize the Commission on Human Trafficking's mission and purpose statement as it appears on the county website, replacing the proposed purpose outcome language of the drafted provided. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, so I don't know what draft was provided. I went through every meeting note that I could find. Do you happen to know what draft was provided? Is it from the collaborative labs, Lisa? This would be on page number 3 of the recap. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, so let me go back to page number 3 on the recap. What was discussed was that regarding the statement that appears on the website for the mission of the Commission on Human Trafficking would be included as the language used in the RFP. So that's the only context in which that came up. So when you look at the request for proposal questionnaire that's included in your agenda packets today, number 4, which is purpose/outcome, that's the same statement that appears on the website, and that's the context in which it was brought up at the steering committee. So there wasn't any talk of changing it at the steering committee, just utilizing it for the RFP.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that. Thank
Sure.
you. And in reviewing the steering committee recap, does anyone have any questions, any comments, anything that they would like to have a discussion about?
Okay.
Yes. Yes, Member Gray.
Thank you. I wanted to just make a statement here in appreciation for, and I'll get the entire name, but Commissioner Donna Cameron Cepeda.
Yes.
Your work and your collaboration with all of these involved vendors and partners is critical in our school system with 245 school sites, 45 high schools. We are now, and Ms. Rose knows, and Lisa as well, we are now facing students trafficking students. Mm-hmm. So the need and your voice is more than ever, it's reached to the school system, and I just want to say I appreciate it, and I hope we have continued focus throughout the years. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. No further conversation or discussion? So then let's go ahead, let's move on to our fiscal year, the 26 budget request of a town hall style conference. So let me just preempt that by saying August the 22nd, right, we are having a very robust training for the legal community. We have BJA, which is the Bureau of Justice Assistance, which they're also part of the National Training Technical Assistance Center. They're coming in from the DC area to facilitate the training. There will be a morning training and an afternoon training. As far as the content is concerned, it's pretty duplicated. The difference is going to be the audience is going to be a little bit different in the morning than possibly what the audience will be in the afternoon. The reason for that is, as we know, when we come together in our respective entities, right, there are sometimes that we want to have very private conversations about maybe what law enforcement does or what survivor mentors do or victims advocates, right? We don't want that necessarily out for everyone in the open, right? So that the folks that are attending this training can have those in-depth robust conversations and ask those types of questions. So that is for our August 22nd. But what we've been having conversation since our collaborative lab was, let's have what we kind of call maybe a town hall conference or a town hall training. And what would that look like in fiscal year 2026? Would that be for the community at large? Would that be only for all our community partners? Would it be a combination of both? So we need to start putting together a budget, because we have to have that budget request in by what date, Lisa?
Well, it can't be before October 1st, but it can be any time after October 1st. October 1st is when the 2026 budget will be funded, and we'll know exactly how much you have to spend. But we want to, if this is going to be a larger type conference, which is something that the commissioner had talked about, Vice Chair Dottie Groover-Skipper has talked about many times, to maybe be a model for other counties to do this kind of awareness and information and bringing together of partners. We'll need to secure a venue. Visit Tampa Bay at previous meetings have offered their assistance to find a venue, but it'll be something that'll be a very large undertaking. So the sooner you can vote on whether or not to do it, when to do it, what kind of conference you want to see, the better. And I think that was one of the committees that you were alluding to earlier.
Yes.
But this committee will have to meet very quickly to put this all together at the beginning of the fiscal year, so that by September 30th of 2026, we will have it done, over, paid for, and would be able to start planning, you know, if this is going to be an annual event the next year.
So Lisa,
Yes.
since we do not have everyone at the table that sits on the commission, and I would like to ask who would like to be on the committee for this conference, is that something that we can send out in an email?
It is.
All right,
Yeah, you don't have to vote on which members join.
okay. So if you could please put together, draft an email for us that we could send out to all the folks that are on the commission, and maybe we'll come up with some languaging of what it would look like so that we could go ahead and create a really robust committee. My hope would be that we have law enforcement and advocates and, you know, victim services, et cetera. So we have our attorneys there. So we have every entity present, every agency present on this committee, so that it can be exactly what it is that you are looking for, and more importantly, the folks that are going to be attending, what they're going to walk away with.
Will do.
Thank you. That is my wrap-up for the steering committee.
Commissioner, did you want to say add to that?
Not at this time. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Lisa, I do have one
Commissioner.
other thing that I would like to
I
say.
just wanted to make sure that everybody who wanted to speak or have something to say would jump in.
So what I wanted to do is just take a moment, I want to address the collaborative labs, right? We all came together, it was phenomenal, we had very robust conversation. Unfortunately, we didn't have every member that sits on the commission attend. We were also, though, very blessed by some folks from the outside of the commission that came to attend and lended their voice. And as you know, we did receive a recap. And one of the things that really came back from the recap are just a couple things I want to highlight. One was, what is our vision for 2027? And that our vision for 2027 is design a Hillsborough County model that is based on human trafficking best practices. How? By incorporating successful initiatives of local resources, primarily combined with other local, state, and national organizations, with the goal of convening a national caucus based in Hillsborough County, Florida. And the value proposition that came along with that was to have really a full integration of community stakeholders to participate in the development of comprehensive resources that guarantees an accelerated decline in human trafficking. What I am reading from is the executive summary that was put together by the executive director, Angie, of Collaborative Labs, right? And then with our 2027 plan, which we are already starting to roll out some of this, was about law enforcement, about our goal to really have increased training and education for law enforcement. How do we do that with law enforcement, also with the community at large? How do we implement some of the different legal procedures and programs to assist victims? Our victim services for adults, right? How do we increase those services? How do we provide more capacity? How do we specialize, or how do we enhance that specialized advocacy? For our youth, for our children, so the victims that are children. What about our trauma-informed changes, right? We want to look at increasing our system of coordination and our collaboration. So we want to expand it even more than we are now. Housing of adults. And we'll also talk about housing of children, but housing of adults, we're already on that, right? That's part of what we're talking about with the Hotel Motel Association. What is that going to look like for us to be able to provide emergency housing, emergency funding vouchers? So to increase a variety of housing options, both with our adults and with our children. And with our children also, how do we really specialize in the training? Because when we are working with our youth, right, we're going to hyper-focus on what their needs are, and it's the same thing for our adults. And one of the things I just want to point out is a lot of times what we forget is that when there is that 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old and older that comes in front of us, whether it's law enforcement, victim services, however it might be, we have to remember that more than likely their trafficking, their extreme complex abuse started when they were a child. Right? So when we talk about our services for our children and our adults, please make sure that we always keep that in the forefront in our minds with our adults. And then also another goal was about community awareness and prevention programs. How do we really come together and educate them? How do we come together and educate our businesses, our schools, our community at large? How do we create Hillsborough County as being a very resilient community and a resilient county, as well as how do we help create Hillsborough County school system to have resilient, trauma-informed, victim-centered practices within the school system? And that was pretty much what her summary was all about. So I just wanted to cover that with you. So if you get a chance to go back through the collaborative report, you know, it's very long. It's about 45 pages, right? But go through, highlight it, and look at what's really important to you, and then bring that back and let's have those robust conversations. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
I apologize. I should have said something earlier. I spoke at public comment. Also, I just want to remind the committee that the county does have a partnership with the Lotus Coalition, and they can provide, on a short-term basis, case management and emergency housing as well. Paula could not be here today due to a personal matter, but she will be attending the Commission on Human Trafficking board meetings as well. So just want to make sure that, keep that at the forefront, that there is a resource, a limited resource, but something available. And she has been providing case management and assistance as part of funding through the county, just a small amount of funding, one-time funding through the county that expires September 30th. Also, too, just for your planning purposes, keep in mind that Hillsborough County government is a partner with Feeding Tampa Bay, and we've invested funding in that facility, so that may be an opportunity for your town hall or public meetings, for not only for your town hall, but for your other professional relationships out there in the community. They have event space as well. You just have to book early. Thank you.
I have a question. How much were they funded, the Lotus Coalition, do you know? And was it recently? And I mean, how much?
Yes, it was 100,000. It was for,
100,000?
yes, ma'am, it's for to support their drop-in center, case management, and their target audience is not just victims of human trafficking, it's also people experiencing homelessness, as well as people at risk of homelessness. So it doesn't really go that far, but it is something to help as a bridge for a few cases people experiencing human trafficking, and also victims of human trafficking. Also, Paula has come to the commission to do a presentation. So I just want to make sure you keep that on your radar too, that she still has funding available, and the contract sunsets in September.
Ends this
Yes, ma'am.
This September. So if they're able to provide emergency housing, and we were able to give them some funding, that would really help with some victims that, in urgent situations, that the housing would be available to help them.
Yes, and I think what it builds on is, Commissioner, what the Commission on Human Trafficking was already looking at, as well as partnering with the hotel motel industry, is doing that. So I came to the table, I've been in maybe 1 or 2 meetings with Bob Morrison on that, because we already had experience in working with human trafficking agencies. Actually, when the public health crisis hit in 2020, the county partnered with several agencies to help people who are experiencing homelessness, and then certain populations such as the Spring with domestic violence victims, as well as Created. We partner with them to give them money to put victims of human trafficking in motel rooms. One, to protect them, but also to help with the reduction of the spread of the virus, and then give them case management and support services. So our involvement with hotel moteling in that respect wasn't new. And then we talked to Bob Morrison when Connie and Dottie and Lisa and the board talked about that they wanted to do a partnership with doing emergency beds. So Lotus Coalition, yes, they have a limited amount of funding. I do believe that they're fundraising, but it's a flag one-time funding that they will have.
I think that would be great to provide them some additional funding, so that, when these emergency situations arise, it's already there. We can contact them immediately and they'll have a housing available.
Yes, I can get with Lisa, and we can definitely talk to you more about
Awesome.
that.
Awesome.
See, to make sure we don't duplicate efforts
Yes.
with
Yeah.
their budget. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
And one of the things that will happen once the RFP is uploaded into Bonfire, they'll be notified that the RFP is active and can respond. And then I've already talked with Major Rodriguez, and Member Petrolak had volunteered at the steering committee meeting to be on the committee to score the applications when they come in from the RFP, because neither of them have a vested interest in the outcome of who is awarded, being that Mr. Petrolak is not in a nonprofit agency setting. And obviously, the major is with HCSO. So we have a committee that would be unbiased toward any particular responded to that RFP.
Any questions? Additional comments?
If you'd like to move on, I can
Yes.
pick up the staff report.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
So we know that Sergeant Shriver will be leaving us. This is her last meeting. I haven't been contacted yet, excuse me, if TPD has another member making application?
As of right now, TPD has not designated a new person. I know they're in the process of doing so. So hopefully that'll be something that's decided soon.
Okay, well, Detective Aguiar, you are a valued member of this committee, and we will see you at the next meeting.
I will be there.
Excellent. So that's the membership update. I would like to also, as we did at the steering committee, have a reaffirmation of votes taken this past fiscal year. So if we could call for a vote, just for the record to be clear, that the board is reaffirming the votes taken so far, this fiscal year. So if someone would like to make that motion? Thank you. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Wonderful.
Motion passed.
Okay, so the chair has already spoken about the strategic plan training event with the Bureau of Justice and the NTTAC, so I don't think I need to expand upon that. The trauma-informed interviewing techniques at the request of the Justice Partners will be included, and I think I failed to mention at the top of the meeting during quorum call that the state attorney's office had conflicts. They have pretty large trials going on right now, and that's why they are not here in person. They were going to try and join online. And while we were conducting business, Misty Halsey has joined online, so she is part of the meeting in the WebEx. So that brings us to the procurement summary, which the chair has also pretty much covered. The emergency communications devices, we've struggled with how to get that money out, but it has been approved. We're going to get that money out. If it's not already out today, it'll be out tomorrow. The emergency housing and counseling support services, we talked about the RFP and the language in the steering committee. There'll be another convening with purchasing just to tighten that up, and hopefully we can get that RFP out, I'm hoping next week, but that is still an open question. And then just the new and old business, the statewide Human Trafficking Task Force Annual Summit is an online summit. The registration is open. You can go online and register. I already have. The IAHTI Law Enforcement's event, the convention, I don't think it's called a convention, convening, is also in September. I'll be attending that, as well as I'm sure almost all of our law enforcement partners will be as well. In your packets were 3 annual reports. The statewide Human Trafficking Task Force annual report was one of them. FMHI was one, and the USF TIP and BRIGHT program was the other. The criminal justice agenda, again, going back to the HT statewide task force and the other subcommittee for services and resources. On the agenda, I said that was pending response. I did receive the response and included those recaps in your packets. Hopefully, the statewide task force meeting, I'll be able to get the date of that and send that to all of you. Again, that is broadcast on the Florida channel for viewing. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Lisa. There's just 2 other things real quick. One, the Just Conference by Shared Hope is in Orlando this year, so we want Florida to be really well represented there, right? It's October 13th through the 16th. And then I know this was talked about at the steering committee, but I want to personally recognize the incredible folks that were behind Operation Dragon Eye. I know, Celeste, you don't really like to speak. You're like turning your head. But if you could just take a moment and just share a little bit about what Operation Dragon Eye is, how incredible, whatever it is that you are permitted to share publicly.
Thank you. Well, in June, I had the amazing opportunity. I was honored to again participate in this missing child operation. I think some people thought, 60 missing trafficked children. The fact is, these are high risk, and these are missing children. Some of them, yes, are verified. Some of them definitely had trafficking concerns. Fact of the matter is, there was 60 missing children that were located. Thanks, again, to the amazing collaborative efforts. This was led by U.S. Marshal Deputy Mario Price. Again, for the second year, we had local law enforcement, just law enforcement advocates, NGOs, survivor mentors, More to Life, One More Child. It was just daycare. But it was an amazing effort to offer services inside daycare. to offer them a safe landing place to be able to talk to a mentor, survivor mentor, advocates, and most importantly, they got medical services, even more medical services than previous. They were able to get everything in the spot without having to go to the emergency room. They had this, nicely decorated floor. But again, they were able to have access to medical care, to psychiatric care, to mentors, advocates. And again, some of these opened up reports. So these were children that were missing. Not only opened human trafficking reports, these opened up physical abuse reports, sexual abuse reports. Because as we know, 9 times out of 10, these children are not running. They're running for a reason or running to something. So I was extremely proud to be. Some of our law enforcement that are here also were part of that. And again, more to life. But it was a great effort by all. I was proud to be involved. Thank you.
Do you have anything to add? I'm looking over your way.
I'll just repeat what she said. It was the second year in a row that we partnered with U.S. Marshals, several law enforcement agencies, including the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, Pinellas County, Pasco County, St. Pete Police Department, Tampa Police Department. And then, as she referenced, Baycare and a bunch of NGOs and organizations partnered together with the goal of locating at-risk youth, some of which I know TPD, we specifically had a couple of kids that were missing for like 7 or 8 months that we were able to locate during the operation, not only just in the Tampa area, but also throughout the state of Florida, and I believe a few out of state also. So overall, it was a good operation. It's nice to have those kind of resources together all at once because it really multiplies our abilities to be able to locate and investigate things. There's been several criminal arrests that have that came from the operation. Some bad people are going to be prosecuted. So we obviously look forward to doing it again next year, and we appreciate the support of the community in that endeavor.
Thank you, and thank you again. Great work, everyone.
Madam Chair, I'd also like to add that while we were meeting, Visit Tampa Bay did join virtually. Usually we have them up on the screen when they are joining by WebEx, but we didn't have that this time. I will see. Oh, there we go. Ask and ye shall receive. So we did have more than just the 11 members here in person participating in the meeting.
Nice, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there anything that anyone would like to add? Otherwise, we can adjourn our meeting. Is there anything else? All right.
I just have one thing.
Go for it.
I don't know if it's possible, but since we have guests here that kind of talked about what they do in the community, is it possible? You need me to put this on for me? All right, just wave to me. Okay. I would like to hear from the organization that spoke earlier about maybe some ways the commission can support them or some things that maybe they need that maybe we can assist with, whether it's this year or in the future.
Are you referring to More to Life that just spoke? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, they gave a big breakdown on basically what they do and that kind of thing, but I would be interested in hearing how we can support that.
All right, Dawn, the request is there. Go for it.
Does funding count? I'm just kidding.
We have an RFP.
Obviously, like any events that you have coming up, we're more than happy to present at those events. If you have any people that would be interested in partnering with us, spreading the word, our Restorative Justice to In Demand, we are launching that nationally soon. And so that is something that is currently through the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office, but it actually started in Sarasota County, so Circuit 12. But we do want to do that nationally. So if you have anyone that would be interested in learning more about that, spreading the word, that would be a huge help, just spreading awareness about what we do. We're also going to be at Shared Hope. We have 2 proposals there, so we're really excited about that. Anything else, Kim? If any, utilize Kim for cases. That's her specialty. We did carve out that position because there was that need, and she's very gifted with this. And so any law enforcement partnership, she can also do trainings. So again, I mentioned the trauma responsive trainings for the schools. I know that you mentioned talking to schools about that. We have that curriculum created, and we would love to partner with you on those efforts. She's also has specific stuff for law enforcement, so just really raising awareness and telling people about what we're doing.
Don, I'd like to just ask a couple questions about your demand program.
Yes.
Because, for years, we've been having that conversation, John Scholes, John Scholes, John Scholes. And of course, I know Brooke Bellow who is the founder of More to Life and is a lived experience. And so we have those conversations, but yet we're not really doing it. So how can we expand on the conversation, make it reality, and what forum would be the best place for us to really dive in a little bit deeper where we're not being recorded, actually, where we can dive in, or who would you dive in with to really expand on that conversation for Hillsborough County?
I mean, really, the state's attorney's offices, it's worked really well through those municipalities. I don't know, actually, I think it's a municipality. So, those connections, any other connections, we would love to do a presentation on what we're doing. It's also, what's great about that program is it is online, and so it can be, it can be anywhere. And we've been doing this for 10 years. So, and it was created and developed by Dr. Brooke Bellow, who is our founder CEO, and also someone who had lived experience as a minor.
Mm-hmm. Right. Great, thank you. Does anyone have any other questions for More to Life? Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you. Anyone else? So do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? All in favor? All opposed? Motion approved. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.